Okay, so this is the second handwriting lesson, and this time we're going to look at family number 2, which is the Coathanger family. But before we start doing anything with the line guide, I'll just show you what to use if you don't have one of the line guides. So you can use a normal A4 book, but you just need to draw on the broken lines and the solid lines. If you are just starting out, so if you're in reception and perhaps year 1, you might want to use the bigger one here, and if you're in Key Stage 1 or in Key Stage 2, you're probably better off drawing it smaller like this to reduce the size of your handwriting. But that's really easy to do. Now, we're going to look at the Coathanger family today. Now, the Coathanger family, they are oval letter shapes rather than circular, so that's really important to remember, and they always start at the top solid line, and the smaller letters go between the top solid line and the bottom solid line. Now, we are going to look at E as well. E is like a distant cousin of the Coathanger family because you form it in a slightly different way, but we'll come to that one at the very end. So when you're starting, it's about your pencil grip. So remember, you need to pinch your fingers and you put your pencil in the bed. So we're going to put our pencil in its bed like this, and that helps us get the good grip again, remembering not to grip right down here, and it's always good to have a sharp pencil. So we're going to start with the C letter shape. Now it starts at the top solid line, and you just do this movement like a little arch shape. So it's better to practice this movement first along the line before you actually go in to the C shape. So it's a curved shape, just like that. Then if you want to have a go at doing the rest of this letter shape, if you put your pencil here, just below the top solid line, you bring it around in that curve, it comes down to the bottom solid line where it curves back up again. So it starts just here, touches the top of the solid line, back down to the bottom solid line like this, and just do a few of these letter shapes to practice it. Once you've started with the C, you can then move on to looking at the other ones because they all follow this similar pattern. So if you look at the A next, the A, it's a tricky one for the younger children because sometimes they start in the wrong place. So it's really important that we start in the correct place, and you start just like you did with the C here, and it goes up and over, round to the bottom solid, then it goes back up to the top solid, back down to the bottom solid with a flick. Now you know if you've done this one right because here you should have got a little triangle that's formed, and this is important for when you later do the diagonal joins, which we'll come on to later on. So again, you start at the top, you go round like the C, touch the bottom of the solid line, back up to the top solid, back down to the bottom solid with our flick, and you can see I've got my little triangle there again. So we'll do it again, around to the bottom solid, back up, down and a flick. Okay, so now if we look at the O, so the O, you can see that my one here, it's got its little joining line on there, and that's really important that we get that on there. So if we start again here, between the two solid lines, it goes around, touches the bottom, back up, and we get to the top and we do a really little flick. Here we go again, between the two solid lines, back up to the top with that little flick. It's not easy to see when you're on the line guide, and you'll see it better when you actually start to join letters. So we'll do another one. Goes around, back to the top with the little join there. And you can see all these letter shapes are the same size. That's really important that we keep them the same size. Now when you come on to the D goes to the top broken line, and we call this a tall letter. And like the A, you can see when you've done it correct, you're going to have a little triangle there. So you start between the two solid lines, and this is really important for the younger children. So start between the two solid lines, like the C, around to the bottom solid line. Then we go straight back up to the top broken. Come back down our line to the bottom solid, and there's our joining flick. And you can see I've done it right because there's my little triangle there. Watch again. So you start at the top solid line, come around, back up, down to the bottom solid and my flick, and once more around, back up to the top and down with the flick. It's really important you start here between the two solid lines. So for the G and the Q, they're both really similar. We call these tail letters because they go to the bottom broken line, and we don't join with a curl here. So it's really important to remember we don't join with a curl in our handwriting scheme at school. So we start between the two solid lines again, just like the C, back up, and this time we come down to the bottom broken line and it curls round just like that. Start here between the two solid lines, go around like the C, back up, and this time come down to the bottom broken line, and once more between the two solid lines, straight line down to form the curl, and the curve always goes to the left. The Q, again, it's really similar, another tail letter, just like the C. Get your arch at the top, come round to the bottom solid, back up, straight down, and this time we're going to do a flick to the right, just like that. Not a big flick, a little flick between the two solid lines like the C, back down, and here's our flick. Do it again, between the two solid lines, back down, and there's our flick. And you can see my letter shapes are all the same size, keeping them nice and neat. Now the E, I said before, it's a bit of a distant cousin to the Coathanger family, and the reason it's part of the Coathanger family but not quite the same is because it's how you start this letter shape. So it's more of an oval shape with a diagonal twist, so it goes between the two solid lines, but you start here in the middle of the two solid lines, you go diagonally up with it, it curls round between the two solid lines like the C and flicks like this. Watch again. So it starts as a diagonal line between the two solid lines to the top, it curls round like the C, comes back round like this. Watch again, diagonal line to the top, and it curls back round like that. So these letter shapes are all almost egg shapes. So you might hear us say these are a bit like egg shapes sometimes. Now these ones with the little flick on the A and the O and the D, and the E has got its flick here, those are the ones that are easiest to join, and so we're going to do that later on. Okay.